as a government, we know that we can create jobs in all sectors of the economy. But we also are aware of the experience of some of the most advanced economies in the world, that it is probably through industrialization that you maximize your potential for job creation. So that is why there's this focus on industrial transformation. And it is very consistent also with the president's own vision of a Ghana beyond aid. And we believe that in moving beyond aid, our attention should now be focused on private sector investment, both domestic and foreign.
We have to add value also to our minerals. And that is why we are focusing a lot on
Industrialists, let us not sit on us, stop complaining, and move forward. The time is now, and we are going to work with this government that within this term, for the next 5 years, Ghana will be a place to come. Our international partners who have come to look at us, Ghana is a home to come to. We are not talking about 29 million people. We are talking about 350 million people in West Africa. ECOWAS, the times of talking has ended. It's time for running is here.
The government wants to buy all that.
You need to be very open because you can actually get an answer to yourself. Who sits in cabinet?
So it's important. That's why I talk about R&D.
If you want to move into an industrialized economy, you should take steps in which the capacity of the standard authority to manage
Company, pharmacists, they are it's a Dutch company.
And I've come to learn so much from today's conference, especially with manufacturing in Ghana.
But then personally, when I came, I realized that what some of the chairpersons were talking about were, if you really have the skills, why shouldn't you be employed?
The summit is focusing on value addition, and it's also talking about international partnership. At the end of the day, the objective is to make enterprises globally competitive, have products that would be able to sell anywhere in the world. And one challenge that has prevented a lot of Ghanaian products from being globally competitive is the packaging. It's either not attractive, or it's not the right type of package, or people cannot really see what the contents are. It doesn't conform to standards. So it was interesting for me to have the opportunity to talk about these challenges and how we can address them.
With the attendance and then the level of exhibition and so on over here. It's good. Especially with the technical things that were displayed over here. I think on the whole, it's been very nice for us and for most of the people I can see around here.
Have you met your expectations?
Let's say 75-80%.
Experience a lot, see many visitors all over the world coming to experience this program. I think it's okay. Yeah.
Is this your first time coming to such a program?
Yes, this is my first time, and I really love the place. The environment is really impacted my life.
Yes, it has. We've met a few people who are interested in our materials and our products, so I think it's been interesting for now.
The day one till the ending of the program, the turnout was very impressive, though it did not translate directly into sales, but we had a very good impact, people knowing what Ghanaian companies are doing and what we can do.
The gifted producer. Rich up.
Alright, finally we are here with the director of AGI. He's in the person of Mr. Johnson Opoku Boatin. Sir, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
So far so good. Yeah, we've had a wonderful program. So I want your general assessment of the entire program.
Well, of course, I mean, I'm sure that you might have spoken to the exhibitors and the participants, and they've given you an overview of how they felt already. The feedback has been great. Normally, you would want other people to rate your performance and rate what you have done. But from what feedback I'm getting, just right now, you heard the person from CSIR congratulating us for a very wonderful program. And I think that it's been a wonderful 3-day program, judging from what people are saying. And so we give thanks to God for what He's done for over the past 3 days.
So have you met your expectations?
Largely, yes. You know, the theme for this year has been international partnerships for value-added industrial and local content development. Judging from last year when we had more on 1D, 1F, it was the discussions was supposed to be focused on what we did last year. Most of our raw materials are being exported, and we are looking at a situation where we can add value to them, so that if you have cocoa, you should have a lot of chocolate going out instead of the cocoa beans being exported or semi-finished products being exported. Okay, so that's what the discussions have actually centered around. And I think that, judging from the feedback that we are getting, people have seen the essence of actually adding value to these raw materials and semi-finished products and making Ghana great through that. Okay.
All right. So do you think the presence of the Vice President and also the Minister for Trade and Industry has added something fresh to the program?
Of course. I mean, if you have the number 2 gentleman of the land coming for a program like this, you're already excited. Over the past 3 days, we've had the news being carried across all media. DTV, GTV, TV3, Joy FM, who were our anchor, electronic anchor, has been carrying this. Most of the newspapers and online platforms have been discussing what we actually spoke about. And the Vice President made very key issues come forth, you know, as to what this current government is doing to actually accelerate the value addition process. So he was talking about automotive assembling plants coming to Ghana, and the fact that we're going to be working to ensure that whatever incentives are given to those companies coming into Ghana to come and assemble these vehicles, the same incentives are going to be given to the local industries like Kantanka, for example. And this has been carried out very widely, and it's been discussed in the media as well. And I think that is a very important point that the Vice President made, and we are looking forward to it happening live, you know.
So some exhibitors complained vividly about the turnouts this year as compared to the other year, the previous years. So what do you think really failed the turnout?
So the turnout wasn't, it was massive. The exhibitors were looking forward to the people coming to the stands. I mean, the first day, the opening, the place was full. So, I mean, some people were even sitting on the last staircase, which was not a seat, and some were even standing in the corner. Yesterday's activities, we had the room almost full. Their issue was the fact that we're not giving the participants or the delegates enough time to come into the stands, to mingle with them and actually to interact with them. That was their main concern. And you realize that today we resolved that issue. Okay, so I don't think that should be an issue at all. Today we give breaks for the delegates to come into the stands and actually talk to them, interact with them. And if you had done your assessment today, you will know that they are very happy. We have the feedback forms they have filled out, and it's very, very positive. Okay, we have to remember also that this is not a typical fair where we are doing buy and sell. This is an exhibition. If you go to Germany and Leipzig years back when the Russians were there, there was something we call sample exhibition. You bring a few samples of your products to the exhibition grounds. People come to see it. They don't buy. Then they place orders. All right? So we are not, this is not an entertainment. This is business we are talking about. So we are not going to be bringing entertainment to the floor. Remember also that there are so many businesses here who are very happy because they have met investors, they have met people who really want to do business with them. And they are going to carry the conversation forward from here. Okay, so that is it. And we had a forum before we started this program, and I explained it to them that this is how a typical exhibition, which is business-like, goes like. Probably in the future, AGI may want to go into an exhibition where there's going to be sales, okay, where there will be discounts and so on, where there will be food and people will come and buy. But this is a different one. I think that Ghanaians are now coming to terms with the difference, okay, between exhibition and fairs, all right? And so here we are talking about strategic investors. We are talking about people who want to do business going forward. We are not talking about people who are going to be buying 2 or 3 items. We are talking about people who are going to make orders, okay, from here. And most of the exhibitors understand it very perfectly. And to also end with this point, just yesterday, we had about 3 or 4, and today 2 people who came back and said that, wow, we wanted to be part of this. Now, if it wasn't massive, then how would they even come and say we want to be a part of this next year? Do you get my point?
Yeah, I get your point. So moving forward, what should we expect from AGI on the next edition of AGI exhibition?
Okay, fine. So remember that this is a conference and exhibition, all right? The conferences are discussing topical issues, national issues, okay? Issues that will bring about review of policy. That is the main focus of our discussions. The exhibitions are supposed to bring about business-to-business interactions. So you remember that the first day in the afternoon, we had a B2B session where businesses were interacting with businesses. So we have businesses coming from Spain, Catalonia. We have some coming from the UK, and of course, Rosatom, who were the main actors for the third day, the nuclear day. So people had a lot of interactions, and I think that it's going to create a whirlwind of business engagements going forward. We're expecting next year to have more external countries coming in. So this year we're expecting the Indians and the Chinese to come in. For some reason they couldn't make it. So next year we're expecting that they will be here so that B2B will be expanded, all right? With the exhibition, we are trying to also find another innovative way of getting the business community, a chunk of the business community coming here to actually interact and engage with them so they can at least have some more orders beyond the exhibition. So all in all, it's been great by the feedback that I'm getting. You know that I think yesterday in the papers, in the middle spread of the graphic, in the Business and Financial Times, who actually helped us to actually broaden the scope in terms of publicity, they carry these stories. Online portals are carrying these stories. In the business news for Joy FM, even City FM, and some of the news portals, they are discussing these issues. So for me, and then your DTV also covered it. All right. So I think that we've had a very great conference and exhibition this year, and next year is going to be bigger. And for those who couldn't take part this year, we are asking them to come early, because this year, a week or 2 weeks to the time, our exhibition booths were taken. So there were people who came in, and I told them, I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to accommodate you, but you can actually participate in the exhibition, in the conferences, sorry. And so that is what they did, and they want to be a part of it next year. So let's have a better next year. There's always room for improvement, and we're going to do other things to make it bigger and better next year as well.
There is always room for improvement. You hear it from the horse's own mouth. He is the director of AGI, in the person of Mr. Johnson Opoku Boatin. Thank you, sir, for speaking to Bamboo News.
You're welcome. And I just want to make I'm the director for Business Development Services. So it is this department that actually organizes this type of projects.
Thank you, sir.
You should know your strengths, but don't let your seeming weakness in certain things tell you that you are weak in it. Because sometimes that's where your strength lies. You are going to be thinking about 3 possible business areas you can get into in order of priority, okay? Or in order of passion. So you're going to write that one down. So 3 business ideas. And when we start, one of the modules, we are going to teach you how to write a business plan, okay? Right. So from October, by the time we get into Q1, we would have gotten there. So you know how to write a very good, simple business plan to start with, right? But this idea is, today's assignment is, think about 3 possible business ideas this one, you know, I can do this. It could be in agribusiness, it could be in manufacturing, it could be service, it could be anything. Just think and write it down. When you finish, please go to Google, all right? That idea that you have, research a little bit about it and write a synopsis, no more than 1 page for each of the ideas. Synopsis is, what is this business about? How am I going to go about it? What is there already? You know, that kind of thing. So you are giving kind of an introduction, an executive summary of what you want to do. Okay? And it should be in such a way that when I read it, I should have straight away have an idea of what you want to do. It should jump at me. Okay? When you are done with that, I'm going to give you to the end of September. So I don't want you to rush, okay? So take your time, think through it, get it sorted out, and write them down. In October, when we start the process, we are going to be looking at your ideas. And then we know how you can start with it. With your ideas, we may not at a go share it with everyone. We will look at the feasibility of it. So we are going to use the wheel that I'll be taking you through after. We're going to look at the wheel and think about whether it's feasible, okay, whether there's a market for it, okay, do you need huge capital to start, or we can start without any money. You know, some of the businesses, you can start without money, okay, so that when we get the money, we know how to handle it. Then at the tail end, around module 12, we'll be talking about investment. So that when you are having your business, what do you invest in? You invest your money in. So you get today, we'll talk about your supply chain costs and all that. Because what you fail to do is that you go and buy these bottles, you pack fruit juice into it or something like that, you go and sell it. So everything was like 10 cedis. You sold it and you had 20 cedis. I got 10 cedis profit. You're lying. You took a vehicle to go and buy this thing. You paid transportation, didn't you? You bought yogurt on the way because you were hungry, didn't you? Something on the way. So you realize that if you factor all that in, you are actually either breaking even or you made a loss. The reason why most SMEs don't survive is that they don't take into consideration the cost. And when I come to your home, this the way come on, oh, the way come on, Fia. Oh, part-time, the way come on. Already you have started sharing your wealth. Then the business collapses. So we will also talk about that. So 3 core businesses, we may get 1 out of the 3 that we can run with. So then by next year this time, when we're having this conference, we want to see 2 or 3 of you who have actually picked it up and it's working. You come here and do a presentation to the audience. Then we'll get some mentors to mentor you and we move along.
All right, so far so good. We've come to the close of the program, and then it's been a wonderful program. As BTS, I've really enjoyed the program. We've taken our last comment from the organizers of the program, and from what we've heard from them so far, I think we've had a wonderful program, and I think next year is going to be wonderful and greater than what we've experienced this year. So we'll advise you next year to come on board to make the program more lively. We thank you so much for being part of Bambo TV crew.